Today we're gonna be doing the things a little bit different. Just a little bit different. We will be getting into some shit, but it ain't gonna be the messy shit that we normally get into. Now it gets messy. This whole situation is pretty messy in a very dark and gruesome way. But I'm gonna get into all of these things. Today we're talking about David, the apparent alleged singer, they say, artist, they say, slash, how would I call this? I don't know. Evil villain in a dark movie. If you don't know nothing about the David situation that's going on currently in news and media and true crime world, don't worry, I'm gonna break it all down. I waited to do this episode because I wanted to wait until he got arrested. I wanted to wait to see when there would be charges. I didn't want to do an episode too soon and just jump on the hype train and there's not enough information to go off of, because if you know like I know, LAPD has not been forthcoming when it comes to the information. So it was a lot of things we did not know. So now we know a lot more things, and I can actually sit here and actually talk and give y'all the actual, episode you guys deserve. So we're going to get into some shit. I hope y'all sit back. Get ready. Linkinwitrobby. So dude hit me in my DM, right? And I'm just like... all you niggas freak out, and that's just all it is. First off, girl, fuck him. If you are now listening to Linkinwitrobby. All right, everyone. Now, before we begin, I do want to make sure I get my pleasantries out the way. So, welcome, everybody. This, like I said, it won't be a regular episode, so I'm not going to touch on a lot of different topics. I'm going to touch on this one topic, and we're going to get on through this, because when it comes to true crime, we take this shit serious around here, okay? This is not a laughing matter, and this is not a joke. To some it is, to some it's not. Hey, I'm going to find a way to laugh anyway, so let's get into some shit, all right? You're listening to Linkinwitrobby, episode... How do I never know the episode number? I really got to do something about that, because I guess because I ain't got no editing team. It's just me, y'all, so I don't be remembering. A number is a number to me. Episode 53. Damn. Linkinwitrobby podcast. You're listening to Robbie K, y'all. And today we will be talking about the artist David, or maybe known as David Anthony Burke, who he will be known as on a lot of court documents, on an indictment probably in the future, if he does have one. What was on his criminal complaint, which led him here. Where do I begin? First off, for those of you who may not know, last year around September, beginning of September, a young lady's body was found in the front trunk of a apparently well-known streaming artist named David, which is spelled D4VD. Not sure if the 4 is significant or something. I don't know, but it's there. And apparently he's some like emo rock / urban contemporary artist. I don't know what group he fits in. He's the weirdo type. So apparently a young woman's body was found in his front Tesla. Now, it's a lot of information, and I'm going to go through the whole timeline breakdown in a few minutes, so that way it makes more sense for people who don't know. But off the rip, just from the beginning, because I'm for the start, whatever. Immediately my ears perked up when this happened, because I'm like, okay, don't nobody just die in a trunk. Okay. And then the car was abandoned. Okay. It had to be towed somewhere. The stench and the odor and the smell of a body being decaying in there is what led people to check the trunk, which led the authorities to the trunk. So then automatically I'm like, well, the dude whose car it is has to be prime suspect number 1, which is, what do you know, David. So fast forward, a few months go by. It's been a lot of speculation. They raided his home. He hasn't been seen. He canceled his tour because, mind you, when her body was found, he went on tour. After a few dates, he canceled the tour. Again, I'm going to get into the breakdown of the timeline, so y'all just sit back, grab your snacks. I'm going to get into all those things, but right now, I just have to break it down little by little. Okay? All right. So, yes. Oh, my God. Yes, so basically, this goes on. He gets removed from his label. He loses the tour, and he goes into hiding. And all the while, The prosecution is building a case. The LAPD is investigating this, trying to get a cause of death, trying to get a manner of death, trying to figure this all out so they know who to pinpoint this on. Because we know in some way he has to be at fault, but we don't know what he's at fault of, right? So there has to be an investigation done. We have to figure out how she died. We have to figure out when she died. When was she last seen? You know, all of these things are very valuable to this case. Okay, so get into it. So let me go ahead and let me just go right into the nitty gritty. We're talking about Celeste Hernandez. Okay, we're gonna say her name, Celeste. She was 14 years old at the time of her death. Found a day after her birthday. It's crazy. She was 14. David at the time was 20. You know, it's a weird thing going on here, because a lot of people speculating, a lot of allegations is that he was sexually interacting with her. She was his girlfriend. That we don't know the details of, because, of course, they haven't released all the information. We won't see that until we go to trial. Spoiler alert, we are going to trial, because he did plead not guilty. So let's go ahead and go into the timeline. I have the complete timeline. I'm here on ABC, Los Angeles News. So we right in the backyard of where he's at. And we're just going to go through the timeline. I'm just going to timeline the events based on the criminal complaint, based on certain charges that were charged, which I'll go over as well. And just based on the case and investigation itself. Okay. So let's start here. Okay. Because this all started back in April 2024. From what we gathered, it could have gone back further. We don't have the full complete timeline. We have what we have. So April 5th, 2024, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a then 13-year-old 7th grader, is reported missing by her family for the third time in 2024. This becomes the final reported disappearance. Okay. May 2024, investigators say Celeste calls home, marking the last confirmed contact with her family. Okay. April 23rd, 2025, Celeste Rivas Hernandez was last known to be alive when she arrived at David's rental home in the Hollywood Hills on April 23rd, 2025. Accordingly to LAPD Chief Jim McConnell, she was reportedly never heard from again. On this same date, guess what happens? Tickets for David's world tour go on sale. Okay. Now this date is very significant. We will come back to it in just a moment. We're going to come back to it. April 25th, 2025, singer David releases his debut studio album, Withered. The music video for one song, One More Dance, depicts David placing a bloody body into the trunk of a car. Well, isn't that something? A peculiar image for a peculiar man. Is this foreshadowing? I'm just saying. Is this some way he was creating a movie realistically that had already happened? Let's keep going. May 5th, 2025. Get this. Prosecutors believe Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body was mutilated on May 5th. Now, I left that detail out. We're going to get there. I left that detail out because it wasn't clear in the beginning until recently that we have clear knowledge that her body, when it was found in the trunk in September, was found dismembered. Some of us speculated that it could have been because her body had been decomposing for too long. And then some people was like, no, it was literally dismembered. Now we have confirmation that it was dismembered. And law enforcement believes she was dismembered on May 5th. I'm not sure what evidence they have to suggest this, but they know something that we don't know. You know what I mean? So, a few months go by, September 8th, 2025. Prosecutors state a 2023 Tesla Model Y registered to David at a Texas address tied to his family is towed from an upscale Hollywood Hills neighborhood where it appears abandoned. At a tow yard, LAPD investigators find a cadaver bag in the vehicle's front trunk, described in court documents as covered with insects, emitting a strong odor of decay. Detectives partially unzip the bag and observe a decomposed head and torso. Literally just her head and her torso. Get this. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner later determines the arms and legs have been severed. Okay. Wow. A second black bag beneath the first contains additional dismembered body parts. There's 2 separate bags. So that's how you know it was dismembered. Because if it was decomposition, they wouldn't have separated into 2 bags. It would have been 1 bag and everything would have been just, falling apart. But they're neatly placed in a certain manner. Disgusting, gruesome. Let's get into this. Now, at the time of the discovery, David is on tour. He's touring. He's doing his thing. He's singing his little emo songs about suicide and death and being a sad black young man or whatever. And September 16th, 2025 comes around. The remains are identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Investigators say Celeste has an index finger tattoo reading shush, similar to a tattoo David has. Now, we're still in circumstantial coincidence areas, I guess you can say. I mean, what are the chances that a dead body is found with a matching tattoo to you in your vehicle, in your neighborhood? Coincidence? I think not. September 18th, 2025. Police execute a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David has been staying. Detectives are observed removing a computer and other things, according to law enforcement sources. September 19, 2025. David cancels the remaining dates of his tour amid the escalating investigation. His Los Angeles concert and a scheduled appearance at, tongue-tied. His Los Angeles concert and a scheduled appearance at the LA Grammy Museum, September 24th, are removed from venue websites. September 23rd, 2025. Eyewitness News learns David transfers ownership of one of his Texas homes to his mother in the prior month. Okay. September 25th, 2025. The body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez is officially released to her family for memorial services. September 29th, 2025. Celeste's death certificate is released, listing the cause of death as undetermined. Sources tell ABC News that this is due to the advanced decomposition and dismemberment of her remains. Now, I remember when this took place, this is what sent everybody in a frenzy. Because we're like, are we ever going to get a cause of death? Because we don't know how long she's been in the trunk from what we know at the time, right? We're thinking maybe a few weeks. But when you realize, no, it's so badly to the point where it's so badly decomposed to the fact that they can't decide what the cause of death is. They can't just look at it visually and see what happened. They're dumbfounded. It's going to take a lot longer. November 18th, 2025. Law enforcement sources tell Eyewitness News that David is now considered a suspect. Sources say he is not cooperating with investigators, despite statements from his PR representatives. Investigators believe the death is a homicide that occurred earlier in the year, though the cause of death remains undetermined. So not only you're not cooperating, you got your PR team telling everybody that you is, and we still can't determine the cause of death. So at this point, everybody was freaking out because they're like, why is he not arrested? What is going on? Do LAPD not have anything? Because at this point, David is lawyered up. When he wasn't cooperating, he had the best lawyers that he could find. He wasn't being seen, like I said. He wasn't out in the public. He left social media. He wasn't even streaming on his Discord or doing none of that anymore. He went ghost. Wasn't promoting no new music. Literally dropped off the face of the earth. So it made people think like, damn, is he going to get away with this? Because if we can't determine the cause of death, how can we determine it's homicide? But I mean, like, it's homicide because she didn't crawl herself in the trunk. You know what I mean? She didn't dismember herself. So she didn't do that to herself. Even if there was at some point, like some people were suggesting in the beginning time, a possible overdose or something drug related or accidental death. The dismemberment and putting her in the trunk, I feel like that just basically discredits that. That just, I don't know. That gives premeditated to me. But we're going to keep going. January 15, 2026. David's parents, Colleen and David Burke, are subpoenaed to testify before a Los Angeles grand jury regarding Celeste's death. Now, this is when I knew shit was heating up. Because this is when we found out that there was a grand jury going on. Now, most grand juries that I'm aware and I'm used to, they're usually trying to do an indictment. They want to make sure that can they file these charges? Is there a strong enough case? They do a grand jury to see what the grand jury believes. And you go from there. This wasn't that type of grand jury. I'm going to get into what I feel like this was. This is a different type of grand jury. So, February 12th, 2026, the Burke family challenges the subpoenas in Texas, arguing they are denied due process. February 13th, 2026, a Texas appeals court denies the family petition requiring them to comply. Because first off, who do y'all think y'all is? Y'all could just say, I don't want to cooperate with the court. I don't want to be subpoenaed. I don't think I should. Yeah, you should speak. Yeah, you do have to talk. You are going to pop up because we're doing an investigation and all of y'all are trying to be quiet. And a dismembered young child was found in a fucking trunk. So someone is going to have to fucking speak. And if y'all have to be subpoenaed to court to sit y'all ass down under oath and actually speak up and say some fucking shit, then so be it. But y'all cannot challenge that and think that y'all are bigger than the fucking program. No, you're not, baby. Not when it comes to the court. Again, I don't care how famous David is allegedly. I've never heard of the man. He ain't that big. He don't got that kind of pull. He's already been dropped from his label. Y'all might want to cooperate before y'all be in jail with him. You know what I mean? So February 25th, 2026 rolls around. Eyewitness News obtains Texas court documents stating David is the main suspect. In the filings, David Burke is labeled the target with allegations that included one count of murder. Documents again detail the dismemberment with body parts found in 2 bags in the vehicle's front trunk. The family's attorney says they are still fighting the grand jury appearance. They were so hell-bent on that. I think they thought, well, if we don't go to the court, we don't have... Baby, whether y'all go to grand jury or not, the case is building itself. Fast forward to this month. This is when shit got real. When everything hit the fan last week and everybody was like, uh-oh, we got him. April 16th, 2026, David Burke is arrested in connection with the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. He is arrested at 5 p.m. at a Hollywood Hills residence and booked at 11:12 p.m. Pacific time at LAPD's 77th Street Station. He is being held without bail, and booking records list him as 5'5", 125 pounds. I'm bigger and taller than that little boy. And at this point, this is when everybody was figuring out, because at the time, he wasn't charged. He wasn't charged yet. So usually, I'm so used to cases where they file the charges, we see the charges get filed, and then boom, they're arrested. You know what I mean? Or there's an indictment, and then boom, they're arrested. But it was like, not middle of the day, we take you to jail. We're going to put you in jail. We ain't going to give you no bail. You can't go nowhere. And then we're going to file the charges on Monday when Monday come around. And that's exactly what they did. Now, mind you, over that weekend, his lawyer was all like, this is not wrong. This is not justice. How dare you guys? His lawyers are females, by the way. How dare you guys have him arrested without an indictment? Baby, they can do that. They can do that. They can do that. It's the jail. It's police officers. They can do that. They can arrest you if they have probable cause. They have enough probable cause. They've been had it. They just wanted to make sure when they arrested him, they can go ahead and do what they got to do and hit him with the biggest charge. They're not playing around at all. Again, it was a young child found dismembered in a fucking trunk. Left for how long, nobody even knows. Abandoned. Like she was nothing. So yeah, we gonna go all hard on this. We're not playing around with you. So April 17th, 2026, ABC News learns through investigative sources that the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner ruled Celeste's death as homicide. The manner of death remains unknown. Sources reiterate that the body is dismembered, stored in 2 bags, and placed in the Tesla's front trunk. Severe decomposition from summer heat hinders the determination of a specific cause. Okay, getting there. April 20th, 2026. David is formally charged with first-degree murder, continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious sexual acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating the human remains of a body. He makes his first court appearance and pleads not guilty to the charges. He remains in custody on no bail. Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman alleges David had a long-term... Let me repeat this. This is the last statement, so I got to read it. This is the last update, so I got to repeat this so y'all understand what it says. Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman alleges David had a long-term sexual relationship with the underage girl while he was an adult, and he killed her to protect his career, dismembering her and leaving her body in his car. Nah. I know they have some evidence to back up these theories because they ain't just developed these theories on his own. You have to remember, this man was going on life as if, because based on the timeline, they believe she died in April, right? That means let me see, May, June, July, August, September. For about 4 to 5 months, this man was carrying on like life was nothing, living his life normally. I am pretty sure there are conversations, there are messages, there's some type of digital footprint that they can follow because this man was streaming all the time. This man was always online. He was always using his cellular devices. People were in and out his house. There's evidence. There's going to be surveillance. There's going to be something that ties him to this deeper than he's trying to put on. He didn't think he would get caught. I think that's what it comes down to. So let me try to break down these charges just a little bit more for what I can. Okay, so he has first-degree murder with special circumstances. This charge carries a potential sentence of life in prison and is eligible for the death penalty. Now listen. He don't understand. Baby, they is trying to hit you with life in prison. And if they can't get life, they want to hit you with death, baby. Death row. Because for you to do that to that girl and then go on and live your life like it's nothing, carelessly, making songs, hinting and implying about death and homicides and all this stuff like that, using her name in songs and all kind of stuff, you're a fucking weirdo. And you may do it again. What you did was psychopathic, and you sitting here acting like everything's normal and stuff. Now you look like a fucking hobo in a jail cell. You deserve everything. And I don't normally support the death penalty because I feel like you can just leave them in life for jail. Life without parole, I feel like it's fine. You know, they're going to die in jail. But, hey, burn them at the stake if you if you can. Shit. They did it to other people. Why not? Next charge. Special circumstances. Okay. The charges include lying in wait, murder for financial gain to maintain his music career, and murdering a witness. Now, I'm going to stop here. I had to look into what the fuck lying in wait mean because I'm like, what that mean? What happened? What that mean? What is that? That what supports the premeditated notion of this, okay? They're alleging David somehow got her to come to his residence on April 23rd to kill her. They may have some type of evidence supporting this, and that's why they're stating this. I believe they may have some evidence. They may have some text messages or something that prove it, and I can't wait to find out. Now, on for other stuff, of course, murder for financial gain. He wanted to cover up being with her because she's a minor. And murdering a witness. Now, this is what had a lot of people confused. So there wasn't an active investigation going on, but being that she would be the eyewitness to sexual acts that were being done to her because she's a minor, lewd, and basically she was the victim, but she's also the eyewitness. And murdering her to cover up said crime is a crime. That's an extra charge. So you just got another charge, just being a fucking psychopath. Next charge, sexual acts with a person under 14 involving the victim. Straightforward. I don't have to go into details of that. Whether he was 20, 21, or 19, she was 14 and under. You're sick. You're weird. And honestly, truly, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think y'all was going to be able to live together forever and be together? Or, oh, no. It was cool until she started demanding more. And maybe she, at one point, was like, I'm going to go to the public. I'm going to tell them what you're doing, David. I'm going to tell them that I'm 14 and I'm not 19. I'm not a college student. I'm going to tell the truth. And maybe that's what made you lure her to your home to get rid of her. And then the last part, the last charge, which is a given. Mutilation of human remains related to the discovery of the victim's body in his vehicle. You took the time to not only stuff this young girl into a bag and put her in a trunk of your vehicle, you dismembered her into multiple parts and pieces, put her into 2 black bags, put her in your trunk of your vehicle, rode around for how long you did, then eventually abandoned said vehicle in the heat, discarded her like trash in an old car to the point where she's not recognizable anymore. Yeah, you're getting the extra charge for that. No, ain't no concealment of body. No. You dismembered her. You mutilated her. You treated her like you was at a meat store or something. Like, who? You psychopath. And what makes it crazy is that he has all these music videos. He has all these songs and stuff where he talks about all this like violence and murder and homicide. And here you go, acting out on them. And I know like a lot of people be like, oh, you have to separate the person from the artist and the music from the artist and all that stuff like that. No. Sometimes art reflects life. Sometimes art is just here to illustrate what you see in your head. And that's what you see every day. If every day you see murder, homicide, and death, and sexually assaulting people and stuff, if that's what you think about with machetes and all type of violent acts and stuff, you're sick. You need fucking help. Ugh. So that's just to get us all caught up, okay? So that's basically what's going on with him right now, right? Here's my viewpoint on this. I don't think he's going to get away with this. He pled not guilty during his arraignment, and his defense team is swearing up and down that the evidence is going to prove that he has nothing to do with the cause of her death, has nothing to do with her being killed. What evidence going to prove that? Y'all going to try to say he wasn't there at all through those months? Because mind you, if they're saying she passed away on April, she wasn't found until September. What is his alibi for all those months? Don't worry, I'll wait. With his car. So you trying to say somebody else was driving his car? Like, where are we going with this? Like, what are we going to say? Like, what is going to be the good excuse? Because I can't think of none right now. Every excuse that I could think of sounds like bullshit. So what it is, like, come on. This shit, when I tell you this shit is so fucking crazy, and the reason why I say it's so fucking crazy is because to do this to a young girl who you were taking advantage of at a young age, there's rumors that maybe he met her when she was 11. I don't know what I have in common with an 11-year-old. They are annoying as fuck. I love kids, but kids are annoying as fuck. I can never sit down long enough to even have a conversation, let alone to pretend to be in a relationship with them. You're not in a relationship with a child. I'm sorry. That is not what's happening. She may believe that because her mind is immature. You fucking know better. You're grooming her and you're taking advantage of her, and you're putting yourself in a position where she's basically owned by you or whatever crap. I don't know. I don't know nothing about him. I don't know much about his following or what he does. The most I've learned about him was after she was found. You know what I mean? And even then, I didn't go run and listen to his music because everything gave creepy vibes. Like, you give Jigsaw, and I get that just from your music. So this whole situation it just lines up perfectly with who you are. And you didn't think you would get caught. You think you're going to get away with this. You think you have a great team because you paid for the most expensive legal team. Good job. Good job. You deserve to have defense. Everyone deserves to have full justice. You deserve to have someone that's going to defend you and make sure you have a fair trial. But here's something. If you think you can take advantage of a young girl, of a young child, sexually abuse her, manipulate her into thinking she's in a relationship with you, then lure her to your home when she could have been home with her family, lure her to your home, murder her, and dismember her body, put it in a trunk, and go on with your life and get ready for a tour. If you think you can do that If that's what you think you can do, you're fucking wrong. And if anybody's going to teach you that lesson, it's going to be the fucking law enforcement. Because you got them fucked up. You got them fucked up. They couldn't wait to arrest your ass. I know the public have been like, LAPD is taking too long to arrest him. Why they want to arrest him? If it was anybody else, they wanted to get their ducks in order because they knew he was going to have a good legal team. They knew he was going to have support. They knew it was going to be hard to just go and just, you know what I mean? You had to have some proof because people are already saying, well, what's the evidence that ties him to it? It was his fucking car. What are you talking about? Who else put her in there? Because that's what you have to say. That's what the defense team is going to have to come up with. If it was not him, then who? Who? And how? How somebody get your vehicle, you don't report it stolen? How they get access to your vehicle enough to put somebody in it and leave it somewhere not too far from your home? You didn't see it? You didn't see your car when you was going home? Come on, come on, man. Come on. Like, I know we want to give people the benefit of the doubt and we want to give people innocent to prove them guilty. I understand all that. Ain't shit innocent about this. There's nothing innocent about this. All this case and investigation to me is saying is he has something to do with it. Let's find out if somebody else does. But you're definitely not innocent, sir. And I hope somebody tell. I hope somebody's an informant. I hope somebody speaks. I hope somebody opens up and comes forward so more information could come out. Because I believe that's what happened. That's how they got some of the details they got. Because they had to go through so much different information. Because mind you, she had been in and out running away for the last year or so. Well, I would say last year, so I guess you could say last 2 years, right? She had been running away a lot. So they had to comb through a lot of information. They had to really pinpoint where she's been going, how she's been getting there. Then they had to figure out when was she getting there, what is she doing, who is she talking to. Then they had to figure out, well, what's his dealings with her. Then they had to figure out what can we sleuth through internet-wise. We have to go through hundreds and hundreds of videos of hours and hours of streams and text messages and phone calls and everything possible, phone records, everything, to figure out what is going on here. Because how did this girl end up dismembered in your trunk? You know, that's just what it has to be. We have to figure out how that happened. And unless he has a very reasonable response, which I can't think of one, it's because he has something to do with it. Now, he can play dumb if he wants to, but just because you've been quiet these last few months and you haven't had anything to say and you've been out of the eye of the media and the public, that doesn't mean you're good, baby. That doesn't mean you're safe. Or you're going to get got. And everything's catching up with you very soon. Seriously. But those are my viewpoints on it. Those are most of the updates we have. We're going to continue getting updates, and I'm going to continue, touching on this in another episode. Maybe I may do another part. Maybe this will be a whole series, like a pre-series. It's still part of my episode format, but every now and then I do like to touch on true crime and what's going on in the area. And I said I want to try some different things. So yeah, I definitely want to touch on this. I've always wanted to touch on this story since it came out, since it started, but it wasn't enough information. I didn't want to just go off of rumors and theories off of Reddit. You know what I mean? I wanted to have substantial information with court documents backing it up that I can really speak on. And once he was arrested, I was like, okay, we're going to push the pod back to Tuesday. We're not going to do a Friday pod. We're going to get everything we need because he was arrested on Thursday. I knew then I want to do an episode on it. I was like, I don't have enough time. I need to see what the charges are going to be. I need to see if he's going to plead guilty. I need to see what's all going to happen in the next few days. So now that I have all that information, now I was able to present it the way I wanted to. Okay. We got a case here. So as you know, like we did with the Diddy trial, we will be following the David and Celeste Hernandez case. And that's Robbie K signing out. And on that note, I did enjoy myself talking to you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And if you did, come back next Wednesday, every Wednesday after that. Tune in to what I got to say. And yeah, just keep linking with Robbie.